And I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for coming. And we are going to be talking about GMOs and ways that we can heal from them. If you've not met me, I absolutely love supporting others and helping others who are motivated to improve their health and to remove any of the obstacles from their lives so that they can experience and achieve any of their health goals and the aspirations that they deserve and desire. If you have any questions at our time together, feel free to post them, and I will do my best to respond quickly. So are you all ready to get started? So first, what are GMOs? GMOs are genetically modified organisms that are living organisms whose genetic material has been artificially manipulated in a lab setting. That means they are not natural. We would never find these things in nature. It's done through genetic engineering where plant, animal, bacteria, and or other virus genes are combined in a way that like I said, we never find in nature. And they do this for a number of reasons, including the ability to handle direct herbicide application, insecticide production, a longer shelf life, and the creation of new organisms. But at this time, there's no evidence that the goal of increasing yield, enhancing nutrition, advancing tolerance to environmental challenges have been met. As it stands, there's a lot of consumer doubt, confusion, and issues within the GMO industry. However, evidence has connected GMOs with many health problems, environmental issues, and the violations of individual rights. So GMOs worldwide, there are currently over 60 countries worldwide that require the labeling of GMO products. They include Australia, Austria, Belarus, Belgium, Bolivia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Brazil, Bulgaria, Cameroon, China, Croatia, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Denmark, Ecuador, El Salvador, Estonia, Ethiopia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, India, Indonesia, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malaysia, Mali, Malta, Mauritius, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Peru, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Senegal, Slovakia, Slovenia, South Africa, South Korea, Spain, Sri Lanka, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, Thailand, Tunisia, Turkey, Ukraine, United Kingdom, and Vietnam. But did you notice the United States did not make that list? Although an NBC survey conducted in 2015 found that 93% of Americans believe that GMO foods should be labeled, excuse me, there's been no indications of a shift to a labeling requirement anywhere in the near future. So where are GMOs lacking? Aside from the labeling initiatives found genetically modified organisms, there are over 300 regions in the world that completely ban the growing and distributing of GMOs. Still, the United States is not on that list. According to the Non-GMO Project, in the absence of credible independent long-term feeding studies, the safety of GMO is unknown. Increasingly, citizens are taking matters into their own hands and choosing to opt out of the GMO experiment. So what are your thoughts on this? So where are these GMOs hiding? In the US, GMOs are primarily found in these four crops: soy, cotton, corn, and sugar beets. Anywhere from 92 to 95% of these four products are GMO. Unfortunately, that's only a fraction of where we find GMOs in our food. Other common sources include papaya, zucchini, summer squash, tomatoes, beef, vegetable oil, flax, potatoes, apples, artificial sweeteners, and most processed foods. With corn being one of these top genetically modified crops in our country today, it's very concerning how much corn shows up in our diets without many of us knowing it. Two main reasons that corn is featured so regularly on ingredient lists are it's very cheap, and food manufacturers are able to buy corn special interests and subsidies in the corn's favor. The use of corn is so widely diversified. It's used as a filler, an emulsifier, a sweetener, preservative, used for texturizing, adhesive, and other things. Different names for corn you'll find on the ingredient list will include things like corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, corn starch, modified food starch, cornmeal, vegetable oil, corn flour, corn sweetener, grits, maize, polenta, and the list goes on. But it doesn't just stop here that it's in our corn and in our food. We also have genetically modified meat. And this one is a tricky and can be a very controversial subject. Although genetically modified salmon has recently been sent to the market, prior to this, GMO meat was incorporated in our diets in a much less direct way. For example, the GM alfalfa is used to feed many of our dairy cows, which then contaminates most of the dairy products, including milk, yogurt, cheese, ice cream. Also, the GM feed the animals consume remains in their system at the time of human consumption, whether it be the alfalfa, the corn, the soy. Therefore, we are subjected to eating these GM crops through the meat and egg consumption after all. While there's a lack of credible human studies on the health effects of GMOs, there is plenty of evidence to recognize many of the risks associated with regular consumption of lab-derived food-like substances. Common sense even tells us when we take food as our creator made it and we change that, it's going to have adverse effects. He made the perfect food. And in particular, science with GMOs are thought to contribute to things such as food allergies, liver problems, infertility, hormonal imbalances, infant mortality, antibiotic resistance, weight gain, inability to even lose the weight, chronic inflammation, nutrient deficiencies, fatigue, seasonal allergies, brain fog, anxiety, depression, eczema, high blood pressure, asthma, insomnia, joint pain. I mean, the list goes on. This sounds like, the chronic state of health that our country is in, those things. So how do we avoid it? What do we do? How can we get away from these things? The single most effective way to not participate in this giant experiment is basically to avoid them. So one of the first things we can do is we can ask, where are our foods coming from? We can support local organic farmers. One thing to ask when you go to farmers markets, don't just assume that those farmers, because at the farmers market, are using non-GMO organic foods. You might be surprised if you start asking the farmers markets what they put on their foods, but many of them do take natural ways to grow their foods, but make sure you ask even at the markets. Spend time researching grocery stores and their brands. We're not saying this is easy. In fact, I know that it's going to be quite challenging, but in order for us to properly detox from GMOs, we have to be putting good fuel in our body. We have to stop adding fuel to the fire. So next we're going to talk about how can we do that healing. Detox 101. So first we have to look at what are the body's ways to detox. We have these elimination systems and channels. Our skin, the colon, our blood, lungs, kidneys, liver, and lymphatic system. All of these can be utilized to detox from GMOs. In short, detoxification is a way for the body to get rid of anything that's unwanted or toxins out of our body. It ensures that all of our other body's functions are also working properly. And this is done through many of the channels that I just mentioned, along with other ways there's other strategies that we can use to facilitate and encourage this process. So how can we do to help our body and encourage it to detox? Well, the first one is we can make sure we're putting in good fuel in our body and supporting those pathways with good nutrients. And we can address any deficiencies that we have. If we're in the black and we're just, giving a maintenance amount of food, sometimes, we got to get out of the red, get out of the deficit, and get our account in a positive. Then we can, we don't need to keep on supplementing just for the sake of supplementing, but sometimes we need to supplement to get out of those deficiencies. We need to promote proper elimination. We can Supplement with detoxifying herbs. We can use like massage therapy, intestinal cleanses, sweating, which we're going to talk about some of these key ones next. So the first one is amping up our diet. And this one's really important because it's going to provide the fuel so that these other strategies have the fuel they need to work optimally. So eating an organic and a heavily plant-based diet is one of the #1 ways to help cleanse our system. And it limits our exposure to other toxins. Foods rich in vitamin C, fiber, minerals, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory properties, phytochemicals. Just think the rainbow. So as you go about your day eating, are you eating the rainbow throughout the day? These are some of the most beneficial for both detoxing and for healing from GMO consumption. Some of the most cleansing foods that we recommend are artichokes, avocados, beets, broccoli, dill, fennel, green tea, lemon, kale, and wheatgrass. And of course, remember, it's very important to buy those organic, non-GMO. And remember, everyone's needs are different, so make sure that you are listening to your body and following the signals of your body. What works for one person may not work for another. So make sure that you are really tuned in as to how your body is responding to some of these foods. Fiber. So fiber works by grabbing the toxins within our digestive tract, and it helps to facilitate moving them out of the system through the elimination pathways. There's 2 different types of fiber, and both are very important for the prevention of toxic buildup as well as for clearing out the system. These 2 types of fiber include insoluble fibers, the first one that we're going to talk about, and this fiber does not dissolve or absorb water, which means it remains pretty much intact while traveling through the intestines. It encourages elimination as well as detoxification. Other benefits of insoluble fiber include decreasing the risk of colon cancer and chronic constipation. Some of these sources include whole grains, dark leafy greens, root vegetable skins, onions, tomatoes, grapes, zucchini. Soluble fiber dissolves and composes a gel-like substance which is in contact with water. It delays the clearing of the stomach, relaying a feeling of fullness for longer. It also helps to balance out blood sugar and cholesterol levels. Some of the sources of this include oats, lentils, nuts, seeds, beans, apples, strawberries, and cucumbers. Let's look at another one that a lot of may be overlooked, and that is pectin. Pectin is a naturally occurring starch found in the cell walls of fruits and vegetables. It works to further detoxification by binding with toxins such as pesticide residues, and it helps to guide them out of your body. Some of these that are high in pectin include apples, carrots, tomatoes, potatoes, peas, plums, oranges. But did you catch that? How the stuff binds to the skin so that it can pull it out? Or the pectin so that it can pull it out, and it's mostly in the skin? Well, it's incredibly important to pay very close attention to the quality of the pectin-rich foods that you are consuming because it's often found in the peel and the skin of that food. So next we're going to talk about sulfur. So sulfur is a naturally occurring mineral found in many foods and is also known for its role in detoxing in the body. Some of the foods that have the highest content of sulfur include eggs, legumes, whole grains, kale, cabbage, asparagus, broccoli, avocado, sweet potatoes, watermelon, garlic, onions. There's also sulfur supplements. But what I want to talk about, mention about sulfur is that we got to be careful. Sulfur is one of those things where if our detox pathways and the sulfur pathways are really clogged up, adding more, if the body can't utilize that sulfur appropriately, can cause more problems. So a lot of people will react. We see that react to these sulfur foods. So if you're having those kind of reactions, I really encourage you to find a holistic, naturopathic, functional health provider to help guide you through to get those pathways unblocked so that your body can get back to detoxing optimally. Probiotics, they are so powerful, and it's so amazing how these organisms live in our body and how we have this relationship inside. They're mostly in our lower GI tract. They produce substances which help to balance the gut's microbiome by promoting healthy bacteria and hindering harmful bacteria growth. Supplementing with rich foods that are rich in probiotics is a great way to help reestablish our gut's bacterial balance after it's been exposed to GMOs. Including these following foods in your diet helps to fight some of the damage that GMOs may have caused, as well as helps to prevent any future toxic buildup. Some of these are kefir, kombucha, miso, sauerkraut, kimchi, microalgae, fermented vegetables. There's also many other high-quality probiotic supplements, but again, make sure you speak with somebody or have someone to help guide you on those supplements. Just because this supplement works for one person may not work for you. All of our microbiomes, while in general are similar, they also are very, very different. And so even too much of a good thing can cause an imbalance. So make sure whenever you are using supplements that you've got someone to help guide you on that path. Detoxifying herbs. This is one of my favorite things to talk about is herbs. There's countless amount of herbs that aid in detoxifying it by helping to clear out the body and supporting the body and neutralizing toxins. Some of the most common ones that we hear about are wild burdock root. Burdock has the power to cleanse the blood of many toxins such as the pesticides and parasites and heavy metals. It's one of the best blood cleansers in nature, but it's one of those that doesn't really cause nausea. It benefits the skin, the kidneys, and it helps to relieve congestion in the lymphatic system. It helps to increase the flow of urine and is very helpful in weight loss. Cascara sagrada. This is another one that's one of the most common ones that we see, is another powerful colon cleanser, and it helps to contains compounds that aid in the intestinal wall, and in turn, it helps support healthy elimination. It increases the secretion of stomach, liver, pancreas, and the lower bowels, which all work in harmony to help move the things that your body is, the waste, out of your system. Dandelion. I love dandelion. We grew up and we used to grow dandelion all the time, or it grew on its own. We just didn't think it was a weed. It's unfortunate there's so many here in the US. We have dandelion, they think, oh, that's a weed, and they spray it and they get rid of it, and it has like these great, powerful ways to help stimulate our liver and gallbladder, which are one of the key, organs in our body to help with this whole detoxification process. It helps renew damaged cells and improves digestion. Stinging nettle is another one of those that are supposedly weeds that help support the kidneys and liver detoxification. Milk thistle is another great detoxificant. It helps by regenerating liver cells while also helping to eliminate the toxins and metabolic waste. We have chlorella, spirulina, black walnut, peppermint, cilantro, calendula, garlic, red clover blossom, aloe vera. There's hundreds of others that have been used for centuries for those who are looking at using herbal and natural medicine ways of healing. All of these herbs have potent qualities, so it's also important to start small. We need to be careful and not just, think, oh, more is better. Make sure that you're working with someone who's helped to guide you, that's experienced with these, whenever you have these detoxification that you're trying to go through. So we have these herbs, we have food, other things that we need to have for our body. It's water. Our body is made up with so much water. Unfortunately, our water supply is highly contaminated with pesticides, with fluoride, bacteria, heavy metals, nanoparticles, industrial waste. Therefore, just drinking more water, as we're always often told, is not necessarily the most beneficial thing to do. However, if we purify our water, it helps us to detox from many of the toxins in our body. There's many different methods that we can decontaminate our water, including ozonated ultrafiltration, reverse osmosis, carbon filters, ultraviolet light, copper, zinc, distillation, ion exchange. Find out what works best for you and your situation. There's many different, countertop, under the counter, and entire house systems, which leads to our built-in house system, water system, sweat. So one of the great benefits of exercising is it helps to promote sweating. It's also great, for heart and bone health and for our mood and neurotransmitters. But one of the most important things is that it's going to help to promote the detoxification pathways. So then, this is also one of the areas, at least in the United States, where we have one of the most hardest times to get on that. People, oh yeah, I can get good foods, I can, do these other things, I can get sleep, but then getting out and being active, we seem to usually a lot of times have difficulty with that. So what are some tips you can do to get moving? Well, find someone to work out with. Working out with someone is so much more enjoyable than by ourselves. Find a sport that you can participate in, or join a gym. You can jam out to your favorite music, or just schedule a long walk regularly. But whatever it is you do, make sure it's fun, because what's important is for you to do it regularly and to have fun. Some other positive health effects of exercise or that you can do to stimulate sweat are saunas, hot baths. But be careful not to make too long a hot bath. Wearing extra layers of clothing, spending more time outside when it's summer. Get rid of the antiperspirant, and attend a sweat lodge. So let us know below, what is one of your favorite ways to work up a cleansing sweat? So we're going to wrap up for today. I thank you all so much for joining me. The process of detoxification can be very intense, hence why it's incredibly important to start very slow and work your way up. It's more than just getting rid of the toxins from our system. It's also incorporating the nutritional support from quality foods, the proper hydration, the proper mindset, the proper activity. There's a lot of contradictory detoxification information out there on the internet, from blogs to what sales, the latest cleanse. And one of the most incredible cleansing tools we have is our own body. So tapping into our body so that it can cleanse us is one of the best ways that we can get rid of the GMO foods. So if you feel like you're needing a little extra help in detoxing from these GMOs, I'm here to help. You're not alone. There's many others like you who've tried many different things and they just can't quite have the success they're looking for. Jump on a call with me and we can chat and help get you moving on that path to restoring health and vitality. I look forward to talking with you all in the future. If you have any questions, feel free to PM me, message me, or book a call. We will talk to you later. You all have a great and healthy night. Bye.